Hi, this is Sarah McLeod, your host for Proven Cures. And if you've clicked on this video, you're probably looking to hear about the latest research in smoking cessation. And before I go any further and delve into the details of this study, I want you to write down these two words, Rhodiola rosea, Rhodiola, Rosea, Rosea. And when taken at 80 milligrams per 150 pounds of weight in human beings, it does reduce cravings for nicotine and prevents the relapse of smoking. What makes this Rhodiola rosea unique is not just that it's a herb, is that most smoking cessation programs provide nicotine replacement therapy, meaning you'll be using a gum or a patch. I saw in one country they have something called nicotine sticks, some edible thing with nicotine in it. So you're basically replacing the nicotine in your system that you would normally get from smoking cigarettes. But with you taking Rhodiola rosea, you would find that you don't even have the cravings for the nicotine, which is absolutely remarkable. And I don't see that being offered anywhere unless you're taking nicotine replacement therapy along with prescription medication. I did not look to see what that prescription medication was for or what it did specifically, but something's telling me it may not necessarily address cravings if you also need nicotine replacement therapy. With Rhodiola rosea, you won't need nicotine replacement therapy because you won't crave the nicotine. So it essentially gets that monkey off of your back. And you might be thinking, well, who cares? You know, it doesn't matter. I like my nicotine gum. I like my nicotine patch. And that's fine. The thing about that, however, is that if you don't make it to the store, you get snowed in, anything happens and you don't have that replacement therapy, and a friend of yours has a cigarette, and that craving hits hard enough, guess what's going to happen? You're going to relapse and smoke a cigarette. But if you're not having the craving at all, you have a better chance of quitting altogether because you don't have a physiological reason to smoke. Okay, so now let me tell you about this study. The study was published May 2014 in a journal known as Psychopharmacology. It is a preclinical study, meaning the study was actually conducted in mice. It is called Rhodiola rosea L extract, and its active compound, Salidroside, antagonized both induction and reinstatement of nicotine place preference in mice. So, okay, that's a very strong allegation, so to speak, because that's not a hypothesis. That is actually telling us flat out what the study caused, what the study of Rhodiola rosea actually did. Rhodiola rosea was able to keep these mice, once the mice were initially injected with nicotine, so that they would start to have nicotine cravings and exhibit those kind of locomotor activities that indicate that they're craving nicotine, and would be given nicotine, to satisfy the cravings. So one set would be given the nicotine to satisfy the cravings, and the other would be given the Rhodiola rosea. And in the set of mice that were given the Rhodiola rosea, it actually was able to antagonize, meaning fight, that craving, so that those mice no longer crave the nicotine. And the thing about Rhodiola rosea, because it was important to me to do a little research on it in human beings before I tell human beings to run out and purchase. Yes, it is available online. It's available on Amazon.com. I think I saw a bottle of it for like $20 or something like that. But before I go out and I tell human beings to go out and purchase Rhodiola rosea so that you can stop smoking, I wanted to see how it is normally used in humans, if at all. And what I was actually able to find was published by a national association called Mental Health America. and they actually have a page on their website dedicated to Rhodiola rosea. And that's quite interesting because as you probably already experienced if you are a smoker, is that a lot of times, yes, smokers have their smoking habits. They wake up and smoke, they go to the bathroom and smoke. But if there are any stressors in their lives, what's the first thing a smoker does? They make a time for a smoke break, right? Because they feel like it's alleviating some form of anxiety. And Rhodiola rosea itself is actually attributed to modifying stress and protecting the nerves of the body. It says it right here on the website. Rhodiola is a promising and relatively benign treatment for a number of mental health conditions, including stress, cognitive stimulation, improvement in cognitive deficiencies in memory. That's the ability to think, calm down and think. And also treats mild to moderate depression. Interesting. So it's interesting that something that can actually take away cravings for cigarettes and nicotine also plays kind of a double duty, because even though smoking cigarettes causes your blood pressure to go up, it does cause hypertension. But at the time, what it does is it addresses receptors in the brain, and it makes you feel calmer. It calms your anxiety when you smoke at that time. So if you would switch to Rhodiola rosea, you still get that calming feeling, so that instead of if some stressor in your life, maybe kids aggravating you or a boss that you don't like or anything like that going on, something bad happens, and instead of pulling for a cigarette, you take the Rhodiola rosea, you get that calming feeling that you would get from the cigarette, and you wouldn't get the craving for the nicotine. So that's awesome that it actually does that. Now, it goes on to speak about bipolar disorder, that some experts warn against rhodiola for people with bipolar disorder, while other experts say that in moderate doses, rhodiola is actually helpful in persons with bipolar disorder who are taking mood stabilizers and whose mood swings are primarily depressive with only occasional hypomaniac symptoms. So that also lets you know, if you're the kind of manic depressive who is mainly fluctuating on the depressive side, you can also benefit from moderate doses of rhodiola. When I saw how rhodiola was being marketed online, doses were pretty high, 500, 600. So like I was saying, if 80 milligrams actually satisfies cravings in an average weight person of 150 pounds, that's a very, very moderate dose. And actually starting at such a low dose can let you know also if you may possibly have any allergies to it before you continue or start taking really high doses that you may not even need. This paperwork goes on to say as well that when combined with tricyclic antidepressants, rhodiola use has been associated with the reduction of antidepressant side effects, particularly sedation, fatigue, and sexual dysfunction, as well as an improvement in depressive symptoms. So that's awesome as well. So with if you are on antidepressants, certain antidepressants, it actually helps to relieve miserable side effects of those antidepressants. So it's like doing double duty. Rhodiola use as an adjunctive treatment in depression increases mental and physical energy and improves mood and stress tolerance. So like I said, this is an animal study. It's a study in mice. I don't have a lot of information as to how the study was conducted, other than I do know that they were initially injected with nicotine, and then the experimental group was given Rhodiola rosea to see how well it would work, and it did reduce cravings in the animals. They no longer wanted nicotine. What I wrote down were some details from the study that I want to share with you. It's very short, very small. The the mice reacted to between 10 to 20 milligrams per kilogram of weight of Rhodiola rosea were given to the mice. And that correlates to 1.2 milligrams per kilogram in human beings, or as I said earlier, 80 milligrams per 150 pound weight person. Okay, so I hope you find this helpful, and if you do decide to try the Rhodiola rosea, please let me know. Let me know if you've gotten any benefit from it. Leave a comment, send me an email, something. My email is provencures@gmail.com. I am here to help. If there's anything that you might be going through that you would like for me to do some research on for you, and you would like to try a new therapy, let me know. Send me an email, and by all means, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because if you only subscribe and you don't hit the bell, you won't get the notifications from when I do new videos. And I try to cover a gamut of health conditions that we would like, alternative therapy to. So thank you so much for watching, and be blessed. Bye-bye.